Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Everyone who was here at the time of the explosion, whether you are an adult or a child, has their own story to tell. And everyone tells their own story in their own way. As many explosions as we've had around here, when everyone speaks of the explosion, they know exactly what we are talking about. It was such a memorable experience, and it affected all of our lives. That was the measure by the event. Before the explosion and after the explosion. On that day, 65 years ago today, I was driving down 6th Street. As I approached 1st Avenue North, I looked out the window. The window was down, and I could see the smoke. I had never seen smoke like that before, and I had never seen smoke with that many colors. And just about that time, the explosion happened. I cut off the key and fell between the seat and the gear shift. I lay there and I could not hear one sound. And I don't know how long I lay there. But when I got up, I could see people running down 6th Street and down Texas Avenue. And it seemed like as if they were moving in slow motion. But I knew that couldn't be. So I backed up my truck and I said, I've got to see about my brother and sister-in-law who lived in the 300 block of Bay Street. And I started down 1st Avenue, and I did not get very far, between 3rd and 4th Street. There was too many people and so much debris in the street. And I still could not hear a sound. My brother Luther and wife lived in the 300 block of Bay Street, and I started the engine and went down there. I couldn't get very far, so I took the key out of the ignition, put it in my pocket, and got out of the truck and started running as fast as I could down Bay Street. When I got to the house, I looked up, and all of the windows were out, and the roof was in the hole of the house. And I saw glass all over the place, and I just wanted to, I was beginning to hear just a little bit, and I made myself calm down. I didn't know at the time, but my sister-in-law and her young son was standing in front of the windows when the explosion happened and was cut by flying glass. I can't remember the last name of the man who took them to the house, but his first name was Jerry, and I appreciated that. The high fire just as the explosion happened. Both ships were carrying ammonium nitrate and a large cache of ammunition. And someone was asked to tow the ship out to open waters. Jerry was a tugboat captain and was asked if he could do it. He would volunteer really. And later that night, as they were towing the ship out to open waters, the high flyer blew up, and all of his crew and Jerry were killed. I said, well, don't worry about that. I'll drive it. Just tell me what you want me to do. He said, go to Steed's Garage. Steed's Garage is in the 600 block of 2nd Avenue North, and they'll tell you what to do. So I went to Steed's Garage, and one man told me to, and I said, well, wait a minute. I can't hear you. I can't hear a thing you say. Get closer and holler at me. And he said, I want you to go as close as you can down to Bay Street and in the south end of town and get as many wounded as you can and bring them to City Hall and drop them off and go back. Nobody's, just the wounded. We don't need to fool with the bodies right now. Once again, I said to myself, oh, John, please, calm down. Now, I don't know how many trips I made, and I don't know how many people I took, but there was a great many. After I went back for another load, there was nobody there. And I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do? So I reported back to the stage garage. And he told me to go to the morgue, to the gymnasium. I reported to the gym, and they were taking the bodies and laying them in the center of the gym. There were hundreds of bodies there. After about an hour, and losing my lunch, I helped place the bodies in the morgue. The next day, we were able to go through the morgue and see if we could identify any of the bodies. This was the worst day of my life. As we approached the bodies, I looked down and I said to myself, do I know you? Did I say hi to you on the street? Did I go to school with you? Did I go to church with you? They didn't. Or the horrible screams that would be emitted from the women who thought they had found their loved ones was absolutely terrible. Grand Camp exploded. It vaporized all of the body, everybody on the Grand Camp and on the docks. A seaman on another ship had taken a great number of photographs and had left the area, and when the Grand Camp exploded, and all of the photographs and he were saved. The next day, the pictures started appearing in the paper. Luther had smashed his thumb a few days earlier, his right thumb, and the man on the high flyer was reaching down to get a hose to bring it up, and I knew that was Luther. After everything was over, I went to the doctor. The doctor told me my ears had been perforated, and that more than likely I would gain some of my hearing back. My hearing was good enough, however, my hearing was good enough to get me drafted and sent to Korea. I said earlier that this was my story, but there are others. One story that I would like to tell. Mrs. Mabel Dishberg and Hattie Johnson, longtime residents of Texas City, had their own version. In 1947, World War II was just a memory, a recent memory. Both of them said as they were carrying out their children to safety, they thought that the Japanese had bombed them again. As many people as were killed, we were lucky that more were not killed. One couple was driving down 146 and a piece of steel hit their car and both were killed. Mr. Mull, who lived in the 300 block of 21st Street, a large beam went that far as 21st Street. And I don't know how far it went into the ground, but about 6 feet was sticking up out of the ground. If you were not there, you can't understand how horrible it was. If you were not affected directly, you were affected directly by it because you didn't lose a man, a family man, you lost your friend. Everyone was affected emotionally. Life goes on. Houses were built. And the only evidence of the explosion is the memorials around town. I don't know how to say it, but that was horrible as it was. The loss of a life and limb and a loved one, it speaks immensely for the strength and characters of the people of Texas City that were here and had to rebuild their lives and march on forward.
27 and 47 individuals that died. Fire Chief Henry J. Baumgarten, Joseph Milton Brady, Lloyd George Kane, Solon Davis, Roy Lewis Durio, Archer Boyce Emsoff, Henry John Feendesen, Virgil D. Faraday, Edward Henry Hendrickson, William Fred Hughes, William Carl Johnson, Frank P. Jolie, William Lewis Kaiser, Harvey Alonzo Mengi, Jacob Otto Meadows, Morris R. Neely, Sebastian B. Nunez, William C. O'Sullivan, Marcel Petticoff, William D. Petticoff, Jimmy Reddix, Robert D. Smith, Joel Clifton Stafford, Marshall B. Stafford, Marion D. Westmoreland, Clarence J. Wood, Clarence Rome Vestal, line of duty death at 99, Captain William Bethune.